It's the future, baby.
It is the future indeed. What's going on, y'all? We are here at JV Wins Dogon SS Conscious Approach live stream February the 6th. We need to start keeping track of these. One of these days, I'm going to go onto the channel and I'm going to count how many lives we've done so that we can keep a running tally. Each time we do a live, I'll say what number stream it is just to
Yeah.
see how many of these we're going to do before the internet and the rest of the world realizes that we are amongst the best at doing this kind of content, because
Thank
it's
you.
going to happen at some point. It's going to happen at
Exactly.
some point. But yeah, y'all caught us at the tail end of a separate conversation. But yeah, we are here. JV Wins Dogon SS. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to everybody for watching. Appreciate everybody who subscribed to the channel in recent weeks. We certainly appreciate it. We got a lot of feedback from the video we did last week talking about 50 Cent getting rejected by the NAACP Image Awards for Raising Canaan. So it was amusing going through those comments and reading what people had to say. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. But yeah, man. So thanks to everybody for watching. If this is the first time catching wind of what we like to do over here on this channel, go ahead and do your boys a big old solid. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. We are well on our way, and we certainly appreciate you joining us along for the ride. Now, with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get right to it. First up, we are going to talk about Waka Flocka Flame.
You.
So I don't know if you've seen this, but they've been doing this thing on the internet. This thing where a rapper does like a speed dating thing. They call it 20 women versus one rapper.
Huh?
Or I've also seen them do it with Charleston White. So I don't think they just do it with rappers. But I've seen Quavo had one. I've seen one with Charleston White, and now this is the latest one I've seen with Waka Flocka. And this was a pretty interesting clip because Waka Flocka basically swiped left on this one chick because he felt like she came into it a bit too strong. He felt like she came into it doing a little too much extra. And so Walker wasn't here for it. He was like, I'm done. You can go ahead and keep moving on to the next girl. But I want everybody to see what it was that she was saying, which turned Waka Flocka off. So we'll go ahead and play this clip.
You.
We'll go ahead and play this clip here. This is Waka Flocka rejecting one of the women during a speed dating game. So this is 20 women versus one rapper. In this case, the rapper being Waka Flocka. And Waka Flocka just didn't have too much time for this one woman here.
Walker.
Hello, how are you? My name is Brittany. I am real seductive. I back, I swallow. So wait, I'm 29 with a degree.
Hey, look.
Massage therapist, fuck back, swallow. I do it all. You don't like when a girl you good, suck you good, cook for you, clean for you, massage you, love you, beat her for you.
What you telling me shit a woman's supposed to do, not somebody to get credit. Well, again, right? You so in the open with it.
Like I'm just being real, like I do it
That ain't being
all.
real to me. Being real to me is finding out who a nigga is before you open up like that to you. Go left.
Well, okay, what you doing?
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, so he told her to go left. Interesting stuff. I don't know. Some people might look at that video and think that Waka Flocka went against type given his rapping persona. But what did you make of this exchange? I thought it was kind of funny.
I mean, this was great. I mean, I couldn't have handled this any better myself. Honestly, this was great. Now, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure she's used to living this way. Just telling whatever man of the evening what she can do. Cook for you, clean for you, all this other good jazz. I mean, that's a good rundown. I mean, honestly, if you're doing all these things, why are you on a speed dating show? Unless you're not telling me about the things that makes you available on the market. I think Walker sensed those things hiding in the shadows. Because honestly, the only person that comes out and says all of those things first quarter is that first quarter female. The one that everybody knew in high school, the whole football team knew, everybody in the hood, the projects knew. And she TV on the floor girl. And that's what this comes off. That's what this comes off as. I'm sorry if I offended any television floor people, but air mattress on the floor. This is her. Toys all over the floor. You name it. Juices in the refrigerator. Food stamps, possibly. I mean, this is the kind of behavior. Yeah, this is the kind of behavior that this woman is giving off to me. Waka can see that from a mile away, and he doesn't want any time for that. If he want a bust down like that, I'm pretty sure he can get a better flavor. So he doesn't need this. Who needs that? To be honest. So yeah, I'm all in favor for him handling this way. And I feel like more gentlemen out there need to be stern with these fast women out here, such as this one. So what are your thoughts on Waka Flocka swiping left on the hood rat of the season?
The funniest part about that was once she realized that Waka wasn't going for the bait, she suddenly switched to her having a degree as a massage therapist.
That was phenomenal. The pivot on that was so swift, bro.
Yeah, she immediately goes into how she's a massage therapist with a degree, as if that's going to redeem her.
Oh, that's great.
Newsflash to all y'all ladies out there. I'm pretty sure y'all have already known this. That is low on a man's priority list. Like, whether you have degrees or not, it's not really that high on the list. It's more of an icing on the cake type thing than it is a prerequisite, certainly. Yeah, I think she's she struck out, obviously. But honestly though, I'm not defending her. But I understand why she came in with that approach.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Her worldview, her worldview, right? She has probably spent I don't know how many years of her life. Because what does she say? She's 29. Is that what she said in there in that clip?
Probably.
I think she said she was 29. So she's 29 years old. That means that she has, for a long time, I would say maybe around 20 years or so, listen to rappers. And Waka Flocka, his background, he's a rapper. So she's probably listened to rappers like Lil Baby talk about how he'll pay for the surgery. She's heard 2 Chainz say, "I'll take you to Dr. Miami for your surgery." She's heard French Montana talk about how they call him Mr. Get Your Tummy Gone.
Oh wow.
She's listened to so many of these rappers who reduce themselves to being all about what I need to pay for in order to get you around here so that you can just, sleep with me. So, she's just pretty much ingratiated herself with that kind of courting process to the point where that's just kind of what she's used to. So she really knows no better. She came into that exchange fully expecting Waka Flocka to capitulate to that. Because that's what rappers do. Rappers just say, what do I have to spend? Okay, cool. I don't care. They are the lowest of the low when it comes to establishing reasonable standards with respect to what they expect out of women, and vice versa for the women who go after guys like that. So again, I'm not necessarily defending her, but the psychology behind that approach, I completely get it. And to be frank, if she had the other way, talking about her morals and integrity and her values as a partner, I would have been shocked. I would have been surprised. I actually expect her to come in with that approach because she's looking at a rapper and saying, this is the only kind of meat that I need to throw at this dude. That's what rappers are all about. They'll pay for anything. They'll spend whatever. They don't care. They don't have morals, integrity, standards, values, principles. They don't care. They tell me in their music all the time that they'll pay for this, that, and the third, so long as I, at the end of the day, spread the legs open. So she thought no differently. This is just a sign of modern dating when it comes to this hip hop context. Now, whether these guys are like this outside of their music, I'm willing to gather that they are. because why rap about it so much if that's not how you live? If you're not really about that life, why rap about it so much? Why? It just so happens she must have ran up and she ran upon the exception, apparently. And Waka Flocka, he might only recently be an exception. Because if you go back to his reality TV days, and the chick that he used to be with, the Tammy chick, she's a reality TV slash wannabe Instagram model type, hip hop video vixen type, chick. So Waka Flocka is probably somebody who's like, been there, done that. I'm over it.
Mhm.
He came to a point of enlightenment. Credit to him. But it's the ecosystem of the rap game and the hip hop subculture that has permeated in such a way that it facilitates women like that coming with that approach. She had a fully loaded barrel.
Boy.
I sex good. I swallow. End point. I mean, that's all she needed to say. Like that's all she needed to say. For her, that was all the ammunition that she needed until it wasn't. So yeah, I like this all the way around because number one, you know how I feel about men who need to be principled. I'm a firm believer that the world would be a better place if there were more men in it who were principled.
Mhm.
And despite whatever Waka Flocka's past may be, it would appear that at least when it comes to women, he at this point seems to be more principled now than he may have been in his past. And I like that. I'm a fan of it. And I am a fan of the fact that he basically told this lot lizard to keep it moving in the other
Yeah.
direction.
Hey, that's how they
Does not
look,
have
bro.
time.
Hey man, I like ex of mine. She used to watch the Walker show, and so I'm catching wind of it, while it's on. But from what I remember from that show, man, dude was solid in the show. It was stuff going on where the baby mama or his wife or whoever she was doing her thing, and he wasn't having it. He wasn't having it. He would always come in with a principled response or something that was just logical of why are you doing that? Or, what's this? What's that? Hey, do this before you do that. So he always came off as somebody that was um, you know, his rap persona is what everybody associates him with it. Bow, bow, murder, murder,
Yeah.
and so people think that and just automatically assume he's the average knucklehead that would say such a thing. But I remember, bro, even when we was in Tallahassee, I remember he was touring around doing EDM. And I
Yeah.
was like, Walker doing EDM? That was a smart play at that time, anytime, honestly, for him to convert over because you're not going to do shows saying pow, 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 you know. So that's over. So he switched over to EDM. He switches over to other things. He seems to be pretty resourceful. So he doesn't come off as the atypical trap rapper, goofball. And so, as you mentioned, she probably thought that, this is the game that I run at dudes at the club. This is what I tell dudes, and it works. I'm sure it
Mhm.
does, because I ain't even, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. When I was in my 20s, all right, and if I was at the club and I'm looking for, some get down, and I run up on whatever, and she, bro, sometimes it was whatever. And if she told me that she gonna X, Y, and Z, I would have been like, "Hey, let me get a couple more shots. Let's make this. That would have been me in my 20s." But as I get older, what comes with that. It's all kinds of shenanigans and hoopla that nobody wants a part of. Walker knows that. First quarter, if you coming out and saying those things, you already know what the rest of. That's why the little, I was joking at the beginning, but I was giving that whole little rundown of how her whole life is. But that's generally what you see on the back end of these types of things. So, yeah, it was funny that she pivoted over to the education thing.
Hilarious.
Yeah, but that's how she would have just kept pivoting. Here, there, everywhere. It's just a problem. You just don't come out and say that stuff first quarter. I'm sorry. You
Mhm.
just can't say that. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. So well done. Hopefully there was a lot of young people watching that and going, oh man, I would have because yeah, man, like I said, man, young me, bro. in the club drinking. Somebody said something like that. Hey man, we can whoop de whoop. But you gotta live and you gotta learn, man. And you gotta know that these kind of girls are nothing but trouble. There's nothing but trouble that comes with that. And I'm pretty sure you can tell. So any woman, now not to say that a woman that approached him with the, more class is in trouble, but these people tell you, hey, she says, hey, I'm trouble. By the way,
Yeah.
I'm trouble. I'm a big problem. I'll bust your windows. That kind of mentality. So well done. Swipe left, fellas. And let's get these lot lizards out of here, man.
Yeah.
And no and stop giving them the time of day and gassing up this industry, man, because right now this is inflated, much like the financial sector. So there's some women out here that listen to too much Cardi B and Sexy Red. So look out, guys, and protect yourselves.
Yeah, she typecasted him. She typecasted him because if it was a real if it was 20 women versus one real estate guy, 20 women versus one IT guy, 20 women versus one hedge fund guy, 20 women versus one I don't know, insert whatever business owner. If it was 20 women versus that, she would have approached it completely different. But because he's a rapper and these rappers don't have principles or morals, they are the simps of the simps. They will literally pay for whatever. They'll even pay for these women to have fake body parts. She looked at him and she typecasted him as just another one of those without being aware that despite his outward appearance and his past musical persona, he just might be an exception. So she completely typecasted this guy. If it was any other type of thing outside of a rapper, she would have approached it differently. But then again, I don't think women like that would be in a speed dating thing with another kind of guy who's not a rapper type dude anyway.
Exactly.
So it's a bit of a moot point. But I think that just goes to show you what our preferences are in regards to this marketplace currently as it's currently constructed. And I'm with you. I liked it at the end. And here's the thing about it. As quietly as it's kept, even though it's not a big secret, but the quote unquote good girls, or rather the women who don't come at you like that, who aren't on that aggressive stuff, who are a little more subtle with it, who do at least at first show different things of themselves outside of their, vagina.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do the same exact things as the ones who are loud with with that stuff. They're all the same. Like most of them, there isn't a tremendous degree of separation between what the more quiet women will do and what the louder women will do. The loud ones are just more obnoxious with it and make for less partners long term. So, I think a lot of us guys out here make the mistake of thinking that it's the chicks like this who are going to satisfy all of the physical needs better than the ones who are more quiet. And that certainly is not the case. The ones who are more quiet in most cases are just as good.
Out here, bro.
Yeah, they are just as equipped. They are just as talented in all of those various areas as the more loud ones are, and they make for better partners because they are more subtle with it. So I think guys just need to stick to their guns, stop following behind the examples of these rappers because they are the worst types of individuals to use as examples for anything in life, let alone choosing women. And I think Waka Flocka is an example of the right type of way to approach these kinds of women who are so loud with what they perceive to be their strongest attribute, which should never be any woman's strongest attribute, as important as it may be.
Yep. Sad state of affairs, man. But I'm glad that our fellas are waking up. And yeah, man, we need more than just sexual compensation. We need more than just cooking and cleaning. And so anything that she was railing off there, there's definitely another layer. So sorry, young lady, try again. Give her like 5 years. She'll hit the wall and she'll realize what's going on. I mean, look like the wall already hit her, but she she's gonna hit the real one, and then maybe she'll realize that, and maybe the situation help her realize that, you know what, maybe I shouldn't lead with my vagina, much like fellas out there shouldn't lead with their wallets. So
Yep, same thing. Same thing. She doesn't care though, because one thing I've learned about this world now is people aren't accountable, or at least they don't feel as though they need to be accountable for change. So she thinks that she's perfectly good. She'll just keep running that same game on the next hip hop dude that she runs up on, and he don't even got to be a rapper. He just has to be a hip hop type guy, because that's what she used. That's what she's used to. That's what she likes, and so she doesn't care that this one situation happened with Waka. To her game is still airtight, because for every one Waka, there's 10 more dudes who don't care. So, as sad as it is for me to say, there's no lesson to be learned here other than for guys to just be more principled.
yep, stand on
So,
business. Stand
yeah,
on business.
yeah. Shouts out to Waka. Good job telling the lot lizard to go left. I like
Well said. Well said.
it.
Yeah. This guy.
So this is a continuation. Yasiin Bey. This is a continuation. Was that last week or 2 weeks ago? I think it was two videos, two streams ago. Yeah. So two streams ago, we featured Yasiin Bey, aka Mos Def, on this channel because he was in an interview in which the woman asked him what he thought about Drake. And basically his response was Drake's music is akin to shopping at Target. It's a shopping experience. There are so many different SKUs with Drake's music. There's so many different SKUs that you can just kind of go a la carte, but there's really no essence or soul to what it is that he's doing. You can just go in Target on a day where you feel like spending money on stuff that you don't need and just buy up the store because that's what Target is there for. Some people interpreted that to mean that Drake isn't really hip hop like that. I think I interpreted it that way, or at least not that Drake isn't hip hop, but just to categorize him where he belongs within the ecosystem of this music stuff. But I think the general population who, kind of was taking Mos Def at his word, interpreted what he was saying as Drake isn't hip hop because he's like shopping at Target. I think the majority of the world or the community took what Mos Def said to mean Drake is less hip hop than other people whose music isn't like shopping at Target all the time. Mm-hmm. And now Mos Def is getting some backlash. He's being discredited because of an outfit choice that he made when he was participating at Paris Fashion Week. Some people did not take a very strong liking to what Mos Def wore, and they took his form of dress as an opportunity to discredit his opinions on Drake. Because I guess to some people, if you're going to be out there dressing like this, dressing in a dress or a kilt, that ain't hip hop at all. So you have nothing to say in terms of Drake not being hip hop when you're going to walk around dressing like this all the time. So we'll go ahead and provide some context for this ongoing situation. This article says Yasiin Bey roasted for latest outfit. Yasiin Bey showed off an outfit on Instagram Friday that is proving to be quite polarizing on social media. A gray jacket over top of what appears to be a blue and red kilt with leather pants. There's the caption there for the Instagram post. When DJ Academic shared the look on his page, fans trolled the legendary rapper. Quote, "I ain't gonna front. I thought this was Saucy Santana showing us he lost weight." One user remarked. Others brought up Bey's recent criticism of Drake. Quote, "Look at this N-word." Another wrote, "And he had the nerve to say Drake make music for shoppers. Clearly this N-word need to go shopping because the Andre 3000 hand-me-downs ain't working for Buddy." As for his comments on Drake, Bey made headlines for remarking that the Toronto rapper makes music for Target shoppers. Drake is pop to me. That's what it was. That's why everyone, myself
Mhm.
included, interpreted his comments as Drake is not hip hop because we said
Mhm.
he's a pop star.
Mhm.
Drake is pop to me in the sense like if I was in Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song, it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping, so on and so forth. And there's the outfit in question. There's I guess if you want to call that an outfit, that is what
Mm.
Yasiin Bey, aka Mos Def, was wearing in celebration of Paris Fashion Week.
Ah.
Drake has since trolled Bey on social media in response. Check out the controversial Instagram outfit above and be on the lookout for further updates on Yasiin Bey. So there you go. That is what Mr. Bey was wearing there. And people feel like that's a bit of a pot calling a kettle black. You want to say that this guy Drake makes music for Target shoppers, meanwhile, you're wearing a kilt. Um, where kilts originated where in Scotland, so maybe they sell kilts in Targets in Scotland. I don't know, but there you go, man. So what do you think about this? Do you think that Mos Def dressing like this kind of takes some of the steam or the air out of the comments that he made about Drake?
So I have a two-pronged response to this. So, and I'm gonna go 5D on this one. So stick with me. So to the layman person, this is just it's zesty behavior. As the comment mentioned, you know, it could have been Saucy Santana for as all they were concerned. All right, but here's the back end of this. So here's the 5D chess. All right, now Yasiin Bey, now previously known as, aka previously known as, Mos Def, Yasiin, all right, Bey. Now Yasiin Bey sounds like a alternative name, probably most likely a Moorish name, because most people who transition to be a Moor use the last name Bey. It's very synonymous. So if anybody's familiar with Moorish history, they have a unique way of dress. It's not zesty by any means, though. It's just different. And once you see it, you'll go, "Oh, I didn't know that was Moorish." It's like, yeah, that's Moorish. And so Yasiin Bey pulling out all the stops. All right, trying to Euro step us, because if over here, you're gonna go, "Oh, guy's wearing a dress, just as zesty as ever." But then he brings it back over here with the Euro and says, I'm a Moor. I'm Moorish. This is a Moorish dress, if you will, kilt. This is a Moorish outfit." Now this is the card he's gonna play of, hey, nah, this is traditional gear of our people. If you didn't know that, I'm Yasiin Bey. So here's my caveat to that. As much as our ancestors may have worn stuff like this in the past, and you're just paying homage, all right, our ancestors didn't lean on a wall like that. And I'm pretty sure they didn't have astronaut boots on to boot, along with some skin tight leather pants. I'm sorry, Mr. Yasiin Bey. I'm sorry if you tried to pull one over on us. To me, I really think this is him trying to muster up some hoopla, some brouhaha, and I think it worked. We'll see if he ever comes out and says this is a traditional garb versus me wearing a dress. But like I said to the layman, it's going to be hard to convince them otherwise. Now that's just a theory of mine. But what are your thoughts of Mr. Mos Def Yasiin Bey walking around here, laying up against the wall, wearing a kilt?
Uh, I think you may have substantiated this for him much more than he may have done so.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a very interesting take. I don't know if he's on that side with it, but if he ever watches this video and they come too hard at him, he'll be able to co-opt your speech to make himself. He'll be able to co-opt your take on this to make him look like he was doing it for a particular reason. I, on the other hand, happen to think that he was just trying to be zesty with his fashion.
Yeah, that too.
And I think that he felt good about his choice to be zesty in his fashion because he's not blind. He sees the transition, the turnkey that this genre is undergoing right before his very eyes. And he's like, well, if they're doing it, I might as well go ahead and jump on board and do as the Romans do. And for anybody who wants to discredit Mos Def as not being hip hop or discredit his comments in terms of Drake being pop, you know, I'd like to pull up some examples here. And I want, the audience to pay attention to this. And if any of these individuals are pop, then I guess the crowd or the community who has an issue with Mos Def here has a point. But I think most of these individuals who have done very similar, if not even more zesty forms of dress in terms of their fashion, would most likely be considered hip hop by the majority of the community, their forms of dress notwithstanding. So here, of course, is here's Kid Cudi. So very famously, Kid Cudi wore this dress when he performed on Saturday Night Live, and he got some flack for it, but he was making a bold, semi-socio-political statement, so people let it slide. I don't think that the hip hop community has, at the time of the doing of this video, ostracized Kid Cudi from the community. I think he's still very much a part of it, despite the fact that he wore this dress on Saturday Night Live, and that's a literal dress, not a kilt. That's a literal dress.
Crazy.
Okay. So as we continue along here, got a few more. So this one here is once again. Wait, do I have this one? I thought I had one more of Kid Cudi, but we'll keep it moving here. So this is obviously
Kid Cudi.
This is Young Thug, of course.
Oh
yeah, the zestiest of the zesties.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and this is also a full-on dress with some kind of suspension type design on it with the hat to match. And there is no doubt in my mind that Young Thug is still considered to be very much hip hop. This guy has songs with all of the heavy hitters: J. Cole, Drake, anybody who you can think of who is, deeply ingrained in this hip hop stuff. Young Thug's done music with him. Future, everybody. DJ Khaled, you go on down the list. Rick Ross, all of the street guys for sure. Lil Wayne, everybody else. Young Thug's all over the place. Pretty sure he's hip hop. He's worn plenty of dresses throughout his tenure as a artist. Here's ASAP Rocky. This one is a little more closer to what Kid Cudi was. To what Yasiin Bey was wearing. But of course, this one looks to be a one piece. But as you can see towards the bottom, the dress kind of opens up a little bit, and ASAP Rocky, another guy who has his own unique fashion sense, and oftentimes dresses in things that I would consider to be effeminate. But he's a rapper and pretty much and very well considered to be a part of the hip hop fabric. I don't think he's being ostracized for this one bit. I got more. And here is your point. Here's Diddy Puff. Here's Diddy Puff. There's Diddy Puff. He's got his kilt on. Now, this is very similar to what Mos Def had on, except Mos Def's jacket was closed and Mos Def is wearing some kind of stocking pant or something.
What's that about?
But here's Diddy Puff wearing the calf high boots with the kilt, and the jacket. But of course, he's still got to cool it up with the shades and the snapback on.
Nice.
But there you go. You got Diddy Puff. Wearing his garb here, and he is hip hop. Let Diddy tell it. Diddy invented hip hop. Let him tell it.
Boy,
and then we have Lil B, the bass god.
Lil B, yeah, bass god.
We got the bass god. Here's the bass god here. This was when he was showing up on ESPN.
You
Back when ESPN was better to watch. Back when ESPN had better shows like Sports Nation. I think this is when Base God was on Sports Nation,
oh
which was another
man.
one of those great shows that ESPN got rid of because ESPN just seems to be really good at getting rid of good people and good shows. I don't know what the issue is. But here's Lil B when he appeared on Sports Nation years ago. I think this is Sports Nation. It was some show that used to be on ESPN that was actually good.
Yeah,
I think but it could have been Numbers Never Lie, Sports Nation, His and Hers. It was one of those shows on ESPN. But trust and believe that is a full-on dress that he's wearing, even though the bottom of it is cropped. The bottom of it is cropped out there, but that is the base guy, Lil B. Now, Lil B is kind of on the fringes in terms of, in terms of being hip hop. Lil
yeah,
B is a bit more on the fringe compared to those other examples that I use.
for
But at the
sure.
time, Lil B was doing his thing. This was like mid 2000 teens, 15, 16, 17, around there. And Lil B was very much considered to be hip hop. And this was at the turn of this advent of, hip hop being, sort of synonymous with pushing the envelope on
Yeah,
gender bending with dressing. So he was kind of ahead of his time with this compared to some of these other examples that I gave. But
yeah.
you got Lil Peep did the same thing. So there you have it. So my point in bringing up these examples is
Uh-huh.
I don't really see a utility in discrediting what Yasiin Bey had to say with respect to Drake on account of the fact that he wore this kind of outfit. Because at that point, all your other favorite rappers who dress like women need also not have an opinion on who is and who is not hip hop, because all of the rest of these dudes are suspect and they listen to all of these weirdo publicists and these weirdo people in the fashion industry telling them to put this kind of thing on so that they can appeal to a certain target market, and they wear this stuff making an ass out of themselves, but they still get accepted as hip hop. So if those people get accepted as hip hop, and if they get to have an opinion on who is and who is not hip hop, then so does Yasiin Bey. Now, me personally, I don't care for the outfit either, but I'm not going to sit up here and say that disqualifies him from having an opinion, because if it disqualifies him, it disqualifies the rest of these suspect people out here doing this weirdo stuff. So that's how I
Right.
see it.
Good point there. All right, a little what do you call that? A little I don't know, displays, or I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was good stuff
show and
there.
tell.
Yeah, man, that was good stuff. So here's, and I think here's my thing with Lil B real quick. I don't know why. I don't know why I find him hilarious. I was upset when he wore that dress on that show. I ain't gonna lie, but that's up his alley. But I think that's when he was cursing James Harden. That was a great time. Oh, that was great. But yeah, Lil B, I don't know. He's a funny dude to me. To me, he's a comedian. But yeah, so point well taken. And that's definitely for the people out there that's been um, just basically saying he's not hip hop because of that.
Right, right, yeah.
But the thing is that, the thing is that, the perception of it just, because hip hop is not wearing generally speaking, it's not wearing a kilt. And the hip hop that Mos Def seemed like he was talking about whenever he was, he seemed real boom bap, Public Enemy, type Dead Prez type of, oh, all right, hip hop.
Yeah.
I didn't see Chuck D wear nothing like this. I didn't see Stickman or M1 wear anything like this. And so it is a cognitive dissonance for sure. So one can probably take my angle of it, of it's probably some type of traditional thing that he's trying to, whoopsie, mess with people's heads kind of thing. It can also be a thing where he's just being fashion zesty, because also in this other image over here with the hat, it's Louis Vuitton, everything is like, that the hip hop that it sounded like he was referring to didn't sound like it would get into this type of stuff, fashion brands, all this other stuff, commercialization type of thing. And it does seem a little contradictory. But the caveat with I just want to talk about so um people really don't listen to Kid Cudi though. I mean they do, but they like if Kid Cudi said something about somebody, nobody would care.
I don't.
Uh
I agree with you, but my overall point
oh, I get it.
is I don't think the hip hop world does
Yeah.
not look at Kid Cudi as hip hop. Like if you talk to any of the shows, the podcast shows or whatever, hip hop journalists, any of the websites, any of the people that host shows, Kid Cudi's hip hop.
No.
Yeah, I don't know of any element of Kid Cudi existing here where it's like that ain't it. Remember when we talked about Lenny Kravitz and we was
Mhm,
like Lenny Kravitz is viewed as outside of black culture because he's
mhm,
rock and roll, and we've sort
mhm,
of been conditioned to believe that rock and roll is not black culture. I
mhm.
don't think that that's the case with Kid Cudi. I don't think anyone's looking at Kid Cudi saying this isn't black culture or hip hop. They're saying
Nah,
he is. He might be an eclectic part of it,
he
but he's
is.
very much in it. No different than Kanye with his weirdness. Kanye is still considered to be a part of the, tribe, so to speak. So that was the overall point that I was getting at with that.
Yeah, fair. And yeah, I feel like Ye wore a kilt before. Yeah,
I didn't even use them. There, I left a lot of examples on the cutting room floor.
nah,
I
for
really
sure.
did.
No, because wearing dresses appears to be a thing in Black America. So it's this ties in your boy Cat Williams type of thing, and which leads me to my final point here. So you did bring up some great examples there, and all those dudes are bought and paid for. All those dudes are bought and paid for. And to me, what this outfit to me showed, outside all that stuff I was saying earlier, but this is the part where I'm like, it better not be this, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. He might have upset somebody, and he needed to show his allegiance to the program. One thing about these people, they do stuff. So they get into humiliation, they get into all kinds of things so you could humble yourself to the people who pay you. And he probably got out of line with that. And this is his, hey, I'm still with the team type of outfit. So he's got a few angles to this that I'm looking at to where it could be either one of these. Uh but I'm hoping it's just more of a I just felt like this today. I think I am Andre 3000 ish, and I just
Mhm.
want it to be zesty for the Paris fall line. So hopefully it's just that simple, and it's not him. It's not something else. But to
Yeah.
me, it was just to me it's just not a good look. I feel like he know. I know everybody knows what you just said. And if you want to mess with people's head, do this because that's what he just did, and he's messing with people's head, and I don't like that. So I would like him to
Mhm.
either come out and clarify, which most likely he won't, and then from there, I already came up with 3 theories. You got yours, and then everybody's gonna have their opinion about what he did. So yeah, it is what it is. He can have it, but to me, I just think it was funny. I laughed my ass off when you sent this. I said I can't believe he just this is low key on 180. So
Yeah.
low
Well,
key.
I just think that this goes to show that even the most you know critical thinking, philosophically oriented people, or at least our perception that that's who these people are, an individual such as Mos Def, can still talk out of both sides of their ass, and like he, I think he knows full well what the reaction to this was going to
Yeah,
be,
yeah,
given what he said. But I also think he also understands that right now we have this element within this community where we are trying to push the envelope on certain things like gender and all of that kind of stuff. So he knows full well that there's other rappers and hip hop people who are accepted as rappers and hip hop people by the larger community who dress like that. And so he feels like he can stick to his words on Drake being pop and dress this way because he knows that within this environment, in that industry, you got all kinds of champions of that industry who put themselves out on Front Street dressing that way. So exactly what does he have to lose at that point? He's not going to get criticized by the hip hop journalism community. He's not going to get criticized by, you'll have trolls like DJ Academics who'll talk about it, but the shows with the biggest platform that have the greatest influences, the Breakfast Clubs and these various magazines, Double XL Complex and Hot New Hip Hop, for example, and all of these other outlets and these people who host podcasts, ain't nobody going to be criticizing him for dressing like that, because we are accepting of the notion that gender bending with dressing in hip hop is something that is worth embracing. And he knows that. He's a perceptive enough person to at least know that much. Even if you want to call him out for that other stuff, and I'm not trying to take away from any of your theories, I think that they're possible. But I also think at the end of the day, he's somebody who says, yeah, I said that. I know I'm hip hop, and so I'm going to dress this way because hip hop is dressing like this anyway, and it is what it is. So my overall takeaway is using this to discredit his comments about Drake is, in my opinion, useless, because what about all of these other people who are your favorite rappers who dress just like that? Do they also not have an opinion too? You know what I'm saying? That's something to ponder, because there's way more people than Mos Def walking around out here dressing like that. Andre 3 Stacks, as much as I respect him, he might come out looking like that. Does that mean suddenly I don't respect what he has to say musically about the next artist? I don't know, but we all have to confront that kind of stuff. Me personally, dressing like that ain't for me neither. I believe in roles, and I don't think that gender bending has to be something that you have to do in order to show that you're willing to push the envelope. There's so many other ways in the world to push the envelope than to show that you're comfortable dressing like a woman.
Yeah, I all I gotta say is he ain't have to lean up against the wall like that.
And to be reasonable, he is wearing a kilt, not a dress or a skirt. So some people might point that out as a difference, and I hear that. But clearly the timing of him wearing that with the rest of it in the boots, I think it's worth bringing up as an issue. But an issue to whom? People who think it's cool to dress like that, or people who really do still believe in the traditional tenets of this hip hop stuff?
Hey, man. Hey, best of luck to you, Mr. Bey. I don't know what this is about. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get some follow up on this, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. The developments.
Maybe.
The Kilt.
I'm not a Drake fan at all, but I can say Drake, at least thus far, has not allowed the industry to tell him that he should be wearing stuff like that. So
he doesn't wear. He hasn't cross dressed yet, but he does all the other zesty stuff in between.
Sure. Yeah. Shouts out to Drake, man. Shouts out to Yasiin.
OVO.
Yasiin Bey.
OVO. Oh.
Oh God.
Man. This guy. Oh, this dude. Man, you picked some. Jeez.
Oh man, I low key feel bad for Tyrese. I do. Tyrese seems to either be 0 to 100. Like there's no in between with him.
No.
He's either good and enjoying life and having a great career and a great personal life, or his situation is in complete and utter turmoil. There seems to be no in between with him. But this latest saga involving Tyrese is a situation in which he is facing backlash because he says that sometimes he wished that he was born Latino. So we'll go ahead and we're going to go ahead and talk about this. Interesting comments made by Tyrese, who at this point is undoubtedly a friend of the channel. I don't think that is. I don't even think that that's sure. That is not a discussion. Tyrese Gibson is most certainly a friend of the channel.
He's been here more than Fast and Furious movies. So he's featured more here. So yeah, he's definitely a friend, man.
Yeah. So this says Tyrese faces backlash for saying he wishes he was born Latino.
Oh, jeez.
Tyrese Gibson has sparked outrage amongst his fans after saying he wishes he was born Latino. Gibson argued that the Latin community is grounded in family, loyal entrepreneurs, businessmen, and women literally represent the dream. The grind and hustle, doing whatever it takes to stick together despite the odds. Furthermore, it feels as though Tyrese has once again lamented about the breakdown of his marriage last year. As mentioned, fans were not having this. Quote, it's Black History Month. Use your black lips and do us all a favor and shut up. Thanks. One person wrote. Quote, sometimes I wish black folks actually went to see the hardworking black people and families all over the country. So many of us are not in LA or Hollywood or highlighted on social media. Added another. So now this is a video that Tyrese posted. Obviously, link to this description is going to a link to this article is in the description of this video. Y'all can play that for yourselves. I'm not going to play the video, but I will read his post here. So it says, sometimes I wish I was born Latino. I mean, the Latin community is grounded in family, loyal entrepreneurs, businessmen, and women literally represent the dream, the grind, the hustle, doing whatever it takes to stick together against all odds. If us is black culture, I think he meant if us in black culture was more grounded in these integral magical nuances of us, we would be dominant. I've learned a lot from the Jewish community sticking together, eating dinner every Friday together. I've learned a lot about the Muslim community throughout all my travels in the Middle East. They have a father structure where they honor their fathers. The Middle East, the thinking and the mentality is that they would much rather have a son over a daughter because they know that there is nothing like the leadership of a father and a man being the head of the household. I have no idea how we lost our way. We can't get anything done and accomplished as a fragmented culture, insecure, threatened by each other, competitive towards our own race, killing ourselves every single day frivolously. The majority of us is black men, and the millions are locked up in prison. Of course, we are beyond grateful, influential, and successful, but imagine if we all linked up like other communities have linked, poured and built up on each other instead of moving like fragmented and dysfunctional. We have what it takes to take over the world. We are nothing trying to do it alone. Please chime in. Would love to know your thoughts on this. Some of these people need to run their post by a copy editor before they hit send. You know, I'm not the grammar police, but come on, man, we got to do a little better than that. Jesus. The article goes on to say, as mentioned, Tyrese has been struggling to overcome the breakdown of his marriage last year. He explosively responded to the interview his ex-wife gave to Joe Budden in November. She wants to be famous. She wants the clout. She had a whole baby and faked a whole marriage to get the bag. Three law firms later. Just hear her out, guys, please. Zelly and I are over here decorating this tree and trying to take advantage of these Cyber Monday sales to come. Swipe left and just know whoever this person is, she hates my guts, and yet her driver's license still says Gibson. Can you please run me my last name back? Soraya can keep that, our angel. Your trash ass birth name is Samantha Schwallenberg. Tyrese ranted as he reposted a clip from the interview. Obviously people have an issue with Tyrese saying that he wishes he was born Latino because Latino people just are better with everything, according to what he has to say about that. The question though is, what does Dogon SS have to say about Tyrese's comments?
I think he needs a new publicist. I think he needs somebody to manage his social media. I think he needs to go dark for a little bit. This guy just says all the wrong things. That's why you were midway through that, and I'm like, wow, he's still going on. Like, I get it. Like, this is his social media platform, so he's entitled, and he felt obligated, after seeing that post, getting charged and all emotional, and just hoping that his people, could just get it together. And I feel that, but I would say, bro, like halfway through him writing that, sometimes I be writing big ass comments to people, and then cooler heads prevail, and I go, this guy's just a troll. I don't really have to talk to this guy. his comment is just in the ethers. I don't need to respond to this or whatever. And then I just let it go because it's not worth the time. Tyrese is in a position, as far as being a celebrity, well-known person, public figure, that everybody's going to always be hanging on every word that he says. The thing is, what Tyrese is, he just says things. I don't really see anything wrong with what he said. I think it's something wrong with him making that public. And that's my thing, because people are going to do what they're doing with it now and backlashing him. Because that whole soliloquy that he gave, typos and all, that whole soliloquy that he gave, although it sounds good and makes sense, black people, you can't lead your essay with "I wish I was born Latino." to people, to the common person, the average Instagram follower, they're going to take that and get offended. You can't talk like that. And so this is where a publicist or somebody that manages your social media comes into play and goes, I think you should say it like this. Put this first. That way people know where you're coming from. And he's just talking. He's just shooting from the hip. And by him just doing that and saying what anybody would have said in a bar or whatever, it comes off as offensive to the layman. Me personally, I know exactly where he's coming from. Who wouldn't want that for our community? Who wouldn't want that for anybody's community? Because honestly, if all communities were taking care of themselves, in a respectful kind of way, and respecting everybody else, then, the world would be a lot better place. All right. But so who's against, black people uniting, within the black community? Who's against that? So, what he said wasn't so damning. It was just how he said it and where he said it. Zero context in writing, whoop-de-whoop. And then the whole mess with his, talking about his ex-wife. Now, I get it, man. Marriage, divorce, it ain't nothing pretty from what I hear, that crazy stuff. And it sounded like he was in himself a little crazy situation with a crazy woman. But again, this is not everybody's business. And so now it seems as though, because now we have a track record with this guy. He's a friend of the channel for a reason. He continues to put his foot in his mouth or just behave on instinct in front of a camera and then uploads it to Instagram. That whole thing when he was crying, I don't think we covered that. Maybe we did. But the whole episode where he was just crying and in front of the thing and everybody made a meme of him crying, all this other stuff, it just comes from him at the moment, whatever. So me personally, Tyrese, I don't feel like you said anything wrong. I just think you need to hire somebody to manage what your social media presence looks like, so you don't get yourself in so many of these situations. Because I don't know what this does on the back end when it comes to you, auditioning for new jobs, trying to get a new role, trying to get in a new position. It's too much, fodder around your name. So me personally, your thoughts though on Mr. Gibson sounding off, saying that he wish he was born Latino. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, don't like that part. I think that if he had just not that first sentence, I wish I was born Latino.
Crazy.
I on this channel, we've talked about some of these heavier subjects, and I've said that there are certain aspects of other communities that I envy, but never once did I say I wish that I was a member of those communities, because that's a form of self-hate that's beyond the pale to me. It's one thing to say that you can take cues from other communities that you think would help make your community stronger, but to say sometimes you wish that you were, that's kind of weird to me. I'm not really feeling that. I don't think Tyrese has. Sometimes it seems like this guy doesn't have a management team. Period. Like he kind of seems like he just manages himself. Like he must negotiate all of his movie contracts. This guy must be his own agent, because it seems like he just does whatever he wants whenever he wants. And it seems like, I don't know if he goes to therapy, but he seems like someone who is in desperate need of it, because he just has difficulty reconciling his feelings in terms of how certain aspects of his personal life end up. And because he has difficulty reconciling it, he ends up, putting it out for public consumption on social media. Not everything is for public consumption, bro.
Nah, dude.
Like, just because we are in the digital revolution and we're in the age of social media does not mean that people want to share in your pain. Like, no one wants to see you crying on the internet because you're devastated over how your marriage ended. Keep that shit private, consult with the people closest to you and go to therapy. But, it's just, we live in a world now where any form of gratification is okay, positive or negative, so long as it's instant. And nowadays you can do stuff like what he does, and because it's instant, it comes off as gratifying nonetheless, even though it doesn't look very good upon your name. Does that make sense? So it's like, bro, just kind of calm down. But in terms of what he said, he's speaking from the prism of, like, and I hate to go here, but I'm gonna go here because I have no other way to explain it in a way that would make sense. But to me, he's speaking from the prism of, like, the way the way melanated American culture of African descent is depicted from a popularized standpoint in this country, which is through arts and entertainment, largely the music. And largely in the music, the participants in those areas come from, they have beginnings that are rooted in a lot of the issues that Tyrese is frustrated over. But the thing about it is, as one of those commenters said in that article, like, Black people in America are much bigger than these various subgenres and these cultures. And it's why I rail on and on about how we look at the music and shows like Raising Kanan as culture instead of merely just entertainment. Because if we were able to separate the two and look at it as merely entertainment, we would do a better job of not allowing the entertainment industry to sell the population on the idea that these various forms of content is synonymous with our way of life as a community. And so Tyrese, clearly being someone who's in the entertainment industry, has bought into the idea that these forms of content is synonymous with our community, when really it's not. And I remember, like, I over the holidays, I was in Maryland for the Christmas holiday visiting family, right? So I was in Columbia, Maryland, which is a suburb of Baltimore. And we were out they called it the country, even though it's not really the country like that. But, big houses, every house is on several acres of land and all kind of stuff. And you know what I'm saying? I was hanging out with my family, and, my uncle took me to a holiday party for a friend of his.
Nice.
And, we go into the neighborhood. Every house is this huge house on like 4 or 5 acres of land. Everybody's got an expensive car. Everybody's got all the amenities. You know what I'm saying? Houses that you'll see on, these TV shows, whereas, these real estate shows, huge, just crazy shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm driving through this stuff, like, I don't really see this every day. So we step into the house of my uncle's friend. Everybody in the house is black. Everybody in the house is black. Everybody is married. Everybody in the house is black. They're all married. They all have children. The children are married. They got grandkids, and they're nobody's divorced like that. You know what I'm saying? The kids, 2-3 generations in, everybody's got a spouse. Type family-oriented community. All the things that are contrary to what Tyrese was describing. Everybody in the house is black, and everybody in the house is a judge, an author. They are a congressperson. Some of them were a lawyer. So I met a couple of people who actually work in Congress. They're lobbyists, all at this party, getting down, getting drunk, tearing up the place, having a blast. But these are well-to-do, family-oriented, community-oriented black folks. So clearly, if you extrapolate that to the general population, it makes comments like Tyrese's completely nonsensical. But he feels like he can say these things because he's living through the prism of what the entertainment industry puts forth content wise, which suggests this is what it likes to live as a black person in this country. Clearly, we are much bigger than this, but he's drinking this Kool-Aid. And so when you combine him drinking this Kool-Aid with the anguish that he experiences over his personal failures over and over again, they spill out as these kinds of comments that really do rub you the wrong way and put a bad taste in your mouth. It's like I agree completely with you. Like he needs somebody to just, hey, run this by. Hey, listen, we're gonna pay for Sprout Social. I want you to put all your social media posts in a draft that I can read first before you hit send on this stuff, because you're embarrassing yourself. And what's more is you're perpetuating a lot of the issues that community-oriented black people are everywhere are fighting against diligently. You know, we get on this channel all the time talking about this stuff. Hey, listen, black people in America aren't all what you see in Power and BMF and the Family Business and some of these other shows. We ain't all of what you hear in these weird ass, dumbass rap songs. We are not universally represented by these goofy minstrel show ass rappers. You know, but you'd never know if you are sort of caught up in the rapture of this entertainment stuff. And I think Tyrese is a sad, unfortunate case of an individual who's caught up in the rapture of this entertainment stuff. And it filters down to the general population. That's why I really like that comment that one person left when they were like, hey, listen, I wish Tyrese would go around the rest of the country so he can find all of the black people who are the antithesis of everything that he put in that post, because it's there. But obviously, if all you do is condition yourself to pay attention to the mind control, as you like to put so often, you would never know that. You would never know that. And he's an individual who's in position to not know that and to lend voice to the fact that that is all a facade and it's not real. And it's just sad to see that he is not doing that. But what's more sad is the fact that he's not doing it because he is just trying to figure out a way to deal with his personal tribulations. And it's just playing out publicly, and it otherwise looks very distasteful.
Well, I hear that because I think it's also I hear your point. There are people out here that are um defying what
Well,
Tyrese.
let me clarify real quick.
Mm-hmm,
What he said has merit. So
mm-hmm,
yeah, there are a lot of issues and probably so there's a lot of issues and problems, and what he said indeed does have merit.
mm-hmm,
But as much merit as his comments have,
mm-hmm.
I also, and I'm speaking from personal experience, right? So this is my personal experience, you know, because when you are around certain things, it kind of opens your eyes up to stuff. And so,
Mhm,
yeah, my trip in Maryland is informing me on my opinion on this.
mhm.
And as much merit as his comments may have, there's also something to be said about the fact that I think on a large enough scale, we don't do enough justice to the more positive elements.
That's fair.
So yeah, his comments do have merit for sure, because there's a lot of problems, there's a lot of messed up stuff going around. But I also think that when you factor in mind control, the entertainment, the internet, you know, the social media stuff, yeah, you're not going to see just how many of the people, like what those people I've experienced being around in that house, that that there are out there in the world, you know, if that makes sense.
No, I get that. So now that makes sense. So I get that angle of it. So thanks for the clarification. So my part. So my thing is the part where he's looping in other communities because again I can't justify that I wish I was born. I can't I can't clean that up, bro. That's just crazy. So you just don't go around saying that. But as far as the aspect of him sounding like he would like the community to be better off, as a whole. So not so much in varying pockets, but just the majority. Now, I think the majority of black people is just chilling.
Yeah.
I think the majority of black people are just chilling, but with the just chilling, there isn't, in my opinion, I don't think that same majority is working diligently day and night like other people. And so what I mean by that is, he brought in the Jewish community, for instance. They all eat together on Friday night. That means something. That one thing means something. And what that does is, it's beyond networking. It's beyond a whole bunch of things, you know. And it's kind of one of those things of where, growing up in a house and, nobody eats dinner at the same time, nobody whatever, versus the family that eats dinner assigned the same time every night, whatever. I would argue that the family that does the dinner every night is a little bit more tightly knit than the other.
with with the TV off.
With the TV off.
TV
But
off.
hey, we used to have a TV on. Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy was on at the time, and so we had to watch it from afar. But yeah, man, stuff like that. And so, and it's good team building. One thing that I would say, personally speaking, that I also long for is more organization. And when, let's say, for instance, in South Florida, the organization of the Latino community, all right, the organization that they have down there, it took them what, 50, 30, 40 years or whatever, 40 years, 45, 50 to run Miami. Just run South Florida, run the school system, run this, then the police, they everywhere. It's to the point where now they're creeping up all the way up into the, political thing of the state. And it comes from, in my opinion, it comes from a unified front and an organized mind to control this area. And one thing that I've noticed that our community isn't doing is have an organized mind where there's a critical mass of people thinking and moving in the same direction. And those are the things that get done. And, in mass. So that's the things that lobbying and all those other things, it should be doing that. That's why last week, I had such a gripe with the NAACP, because that's what that function's supposed to be functioning as. But it only gives out ceremonious awards to P Valley. So if there was more of an intelligentsia within our community where we actually organized, then those types of things where we, at least myself, talks about as far as lack of culture, lack of this, lack of values, lack of all these things that's centered, within our community, then that type of stuff would clean that up. But if we don't have an organized mindset and intelligentsia, 10 or 15% of people that are moving in one direction for the rest of the population, then we're going to continue to see our best and our brightest work for other people and their best and brightest and work for their better benefit and not the benefit for our own people. So I think that where he was more or less alluding to, as far as I'm concerned, was more of an organized mindset that our people need to have. Now, wishing you were born in another group of people because that group of people are using that mindset versus yours, that's the part where I was like, whatever. But I would just say hunker down, and instead of making a post, be about that, because he's actually in a position of power that the average African American melanated person doesn't have. And so he has a position to where he can actually galvanize, fund, whatever. So I would just say, Tyrese, instead of wishing to be a part of another community, use that power that you've been, you earned, to help turn the key in the right direction. But I hear your point. Not every Black person's on the struggle bus when it comes to that type of stuff. But I feel as though if there was more of an organized mindset, then that would trickle down into more of a solid culture, which in turn would change behavior and all these other things. But yeah, other groups of people have it. They just call them lobby groups. And I would say that we really don't. So, but yeah, that's my take on this situation, man. I just really wish he said it differently, but I feel like his heart was in the right place. He just needs to learn how to talk in public.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I hear that. Yeah, I used to be. If you would have talked to me like 6 months ago, I would have been lock and step with you.
Mhm.
But you know, I've experienced that organized mind,
Oh,
and
okay.
I've seen firsthand that it is there.
Where's
I just
that?
don't think that I just don't think it's promoted very well because I just think that we have allowed our way of life to be co-opted with the entertainment industry. I truly, honestly do believe that, and so I think that it has made future generations susceptible to being mind numbed by entertainment, as opposed to continuing the tradition of being of that sound mind and body. But I've seen it. Like, I never personally met a judge that was black before 2 months ago, and seeing all of these things, and then sitting down at tables and talking to these people about some of the things that they're doing in their respective communities. It kind of showed me that it's easy enough to sort of sit in a particular environmental bubble and believe that it's going one way until you venture out into other areas, other parts of the country, go to other neighborhoods, go to other parts, other regions, like being up there in the DMV. It kind of exposes you to some of that type of stuff that you see down here, with the example that you brought up with the Latino community. A lot of that stuff similarly is taking place just in other regions. And I'm willing to concede that we'd be better if more of it was happening in more regions, for sure. So I'm never going to disagree with the general point that there
Mhm.
needs to be a greater abundance of it. But what I will disagree with is that, number one, it isn't happening. And that, number two, if it is happening, it's happening at a very, very low rate. I just think not a lot of it gets talked about, because when it comes to mainstream news and
Mhm.
when it comes to some of these various things that we talk about, when it comes to the political seasons and whatnot, we let other people take center stage because we care too much about, black people getting awards for Grammys, which we will talk about in a couple of minutes here. Or, we caring about all of that stuff. We're so busy fighting for our piece of the pie and our recognition in movies and music and all of this kind of stuff, that we haven't gotten to the point where we have shifted our attention to some of the stuff that actually matters more. Even some of us who are in, like, how I feel about getting more black people into STEM applications, because
Mhm.
I think that that's the future of generational wealth, is technology. And you would, traveled around. I was in DC and Maryland, and that's just one part of the DMV, let alone the rest other regions of the country. And there's all kinds of people who look like us, who are in STEM applications, trying to develop apps, learning IT, building power grids, all kind of stuff. It's just we don't give that kind of stuff the recognition it deserves. So what I think we as a community do a really shitty job of is recognizing the contributions that we are making in other aspects of human existence, not just sports and athletics and entertainment and music. That's what I think we do a real shitty job at. We do a horrible job of that. We do not promote academia and our participation in that. We don't promote technology and our participation in that. We don't promote any of these other areas. I mean, I know we have our cynical ways that we look at politics, and you mentioned lobbying. There's organizations and groups led by, with majority black participation, trying to make moves and do things in the street. We just do a shitty job in the mainstream of promoting these things so that we can provide alternative examples, instead of this merely homogenized idea of what black people is, which is jiving and rapping on microphones and dunking basketballs and running on football fields. That's really how I feel about that, honestly. Maybe that's a bit galaxy brain, but that's kind of how I look at it. And when it comes to Tyrese, I really do think that he does not know how to deal with his personal problems in an effective, constructive way. And so you mentioned connecting dots with squiggly lines last week. I feel like because I think that it's his personal turmoil that fueled him talking like this, because he feels as though he was dealing with a situation in a marriage and a woman who wasn't real to him. And so that's the emotion that brought on him feeling some type of way about community and men being the heads of households and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of that other stuff that he talked about in that post. So it's like he needs to find a more constructive way to reconcile his feelings. Like he needs to get into therapy, because when he posts like that, especially saying he wishes he was born in another community, to me it kind of highlights the way that we overall just do a really shitty job of talking about some of this other stuff. I just think we need to do a better job of that. That's not to say that we're there or that we don't have a long way to go. We surely do. But I think in the collective consciousness of like the mainstream masses, we are still at a point where when we want to talk about any black person's contribution to anything, it's going to be somebody who was acting in movies, rapping in music, singing, dancing, being an R&B star, or who was an athlete.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, whenever I be looking for topics, that's all that be popping up. I was looking up stuff for, other things, cool science stuff. It be regular. But then there's this mindset of, well, damn, how many views is that? So check me out. I'm glad you brought that up. So it's just one of those things of where, and we cover the celebrities, the rappers, the ball players and stuff here. I'll speak for myself. It's to center these kinds of things in a way where it's not just about dribbling a basketball. It's not just about singing or rapping or whatever. It's deeper than that. And it kind of ties into trying to construct values and sets for people to look at these things, because you're going to look at them anyway.
That's exactly what it is. Yes.
Right. So that's more or less how we approaching these types of situations, because that's what everybody's talking about. But I agree with you 100%, man. It's just not enough publicity, if you will, towards, the things that are being done and accomplished and all that good jazz. But again, that's a cultural mindset. I'll say one more last thing. There's people in communities that they 100% know that everything that comes from the TV, the radio, is 100% garbage. There's communities that live like that and know that. And then they also laugh at the people who believe it. And so my whole thing is, if we get to a space to where we really, like all that stuff you said, to where we really look at this stuff as, oh, this is all trash. This is all, you're not supposed to be buying this. No, you're not. You'll be walking around looking like Yasiin Bey in a few minutes if you keep buying this garbage. You trying to have that happen? So that's why I also mock this stuff a lot. And when something's coming up here and there's a topic or whatever, I'm roasting most of the time, because it is a spectacle. And honestly, it is funny. So yeah, Tyrese, I hear what you're saying, and I hear what you're saying, JB Wins. I mean, we're all on the same page here. I think what I'll do from this conversation is broaden my horizons a little bit. And if there is an intelligentsia out there floating around, way out at, bro, I'm about 80. Hey, email me, man. Send me an at the Dogon SS, man. I'm a networker. I know what's going on.
It's out there, man. Like I'm just saying, like, me, I'm big on data, facts, statistics. I'm a real big empirical data guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm extremely right brain. So I think highly analytical. That's kind of how I process information. Mm-hmm. And my thing with this is, if I can go to this one random holiday party on Christmas Eve in Maryland, I can just extrapolate that to how much more of that is actually in existence. But in terms of the way that we market ourselves in our endeavors, it needs a tremendous amount of work. There's people in there. There's a woman in there who's on like her fourth book. She's like a published, acclaimed author. She's written like 4 books, all of them on self-help, constructivism, all that kind of stuff. People obviously know about her. I just didn't know about her. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, this is a woman who's like like she's contributing to society in a way that is highly productive and constructive. On like her fourth book, an author, a black woman.
Damn,
And it's like I think that there's more of that to go around than we know, is my whole point.
for sure.
And I would only be saying that, I would not be saying that rather had I not, we are an amalgamation of our experiences.
Mhm.
And I think that part of the journey of life is you grow and you experience different things. And so I don't besmirch a person who thinks a certain kind of way. What I do look at with a side eye is someone who has experienced different, therefore knows better, and you still parrot in the same speech. And so that's an issue that we need to confront and deal with as well. But overall, there's champions out there doing some real dope, cool ass shit. There's a kid in my gym that I go to. He's like in his mid 20s, I think. He quit a high paying job working for Apple because philosophically he didn't align with the company. But he's an IT kid, knows his stuff, and he's in the process of getting a couple more certifications so that he can keep doing his thing. That kind of shit just needs to be talked about more, instead of just always wanting to celebrate these goofy ass rappers and these basketball and football players. If I felt as though we were at that point in the world, and if we had a few more thousand subs, we would definitely be broadening the range of topics that we talk about on this channel for sure.
Come on, hey man, y'all heard that? Hit the like and
Yeah.
subscribe. Y'all gotta help fund this operation for free. Just click subscribe, man.
Yeah, man. And shouts out to Tyrese, bro. Get you a therapist, bro.
Jeez, bro. And
I
get a
don't think he has
publicist.
I don't think he has a therapist. I can't believe he has if he had a therapist, he wouldn't be doing these things. He wouldn't have these social media outbursts. Bro,
Hey,
get a therapist, bro. And if
yeah,
you do have one, you need to fire him and get a better one because they're supposed to coach you out of doing shit like that.
and if you have a publicist, get a new publicist. Unbelievable.
Oh, good stuff.
Mhm.
All right, now we're going to talk about comments made by Austin Rivers. We've mentioned Austin Rivers on this channel before. I'll say this about Austin Rivers. He does not seem, because he's trying to have a media career for himself, because he kind of, and I feel bad for him. He's kind of been X'd out, like he's kind of been X'd out of the NBA because of the way the NBA does things right now. There's no more mid-level players. There's only like max deal guys or low exception, guys who are going to make like a 2-3 years, $7 million deal. There's no mid guy. There's either, you're down here in terms of your contract or you're a max deal player. And I don't think that that's right for people like Austin Rivers, because he's good enough to still be in the league, I think. But he's on ESPN. He'd be on that show, The Jump. Is it no NBA, whatever it's called now? The Jump was the one with Rachel Nichols, the better one. And not this current trash. And but he does say honestly what he thinks on certain topics. He doesn't strike me as somebody who toes the line and tries to not offend people. But he has some interesting comments about him not wanting Bronny James to play with LeBron because he feels like it would be a detriment to Bronny James's career. And he is citing his own experience playing for his dad, Doc Rivers, as an example as to why he feels that way. So this says, former Nuggets player makes controversial LeBron James statement. It feels like everyone wants to see LeBron James play on the same basketball team with his son Bronny. However, Austin Rivers believes the idea might not be so great. While speaking on ESPN, Rivers explained why he believes it would be best for Bronny to not play on the same team as his father, LeBron James. If there is one person who has dealt with a similar situation, it's Austin Rivers when he played for his father, Doc, on the Clippers. So I could read the quotes, but instead I'll just go ahead and play this clip of Austin Rivers talking about this. Yeah, we got another Twitter link again, so it might take a minute.
Oh, jeez. And I don't know what kind of sweater that is that he's wearing. It's a little bizarre, bro.
Yeah.
I guess it has like, I don't know. It's like, because it's like a whole bunch of like faceless people with numbers on them. I don't know. That's what that's supposed to be.
All right. It usually works after a refresh. This only happens with these Twitter videos.
Yeah, but Twitter is like the only way we can like low key circumvent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If it's on Twitter, it's fair use.
It's fair use. Come on, man.
Yeah.
We're just sharing a social media link.
Yeah. And these websites with all of this cooking, you gotta wait for the thing to load up. So yeah, it's annoying. Yeah.
Let's
But
get
here we go. So we'll go ahead and try it again. It should work this time. There was one commenter on the last video that we did where the Twitter link was doing this, and he was joking saying that we got that broadband internet.
At DSL.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Bro, I remember, like low key trying to log on like at 11 o'clock at night. I'm supposed to be in the bed for school the next day. Here go my thing. Boom, boom. I'm like, bro, what's up, bro? You stitching on me? Man, hey man, you might have to read them quotes, playboy.
Yeah, I'll just open it up. I'm gonna open it up on the X.
Oh, we're getting all the way with it.
Yeah, I'm opening up on the X.
One thing about Austin Rivers, though, man, I'll just go ahead and say this before you get a plan. People just hate him, bro. I don't know why people hate Austin Rivers.
I think they look at him as a Nepo baby.
Mm.
I think they look at him as a Nepo baby, and they don't like him.
Mm.
Yeah, so for future reference, from now on, if there's a Twitter video in an article, we're just gonna go directly to Twitter. We're not gonna play the embed because the embed is not our friend.
We still getting this.
But here we go.
The spinning wheel of suspense. Yeah, but
I don't want to see Bronny play with his dad. I really don't.
Why?
I just.
Oh Lord.
I went through something similar. It was a very similar situation, but also different. I was already in the NBA when I went to go play for him. What happens is a lot of people start to discredit everything that you've done. This kid has been in the limelight since he was born. First day on Instagram, he had 1 million followers. He's handled it so well. He's played well in Sierra Canyon amongst talent and was able to get himself to a school like USC. Right now, his numbers don't scream pro. So if he is to go in the draft or if he gets picked, it'd be great to get picked up by a contending team that could help him, put him in a situation, because he does have talent. He does have basketball IQ. He has potential. Him going and play with his dad at this point in his career, just because Bronny's success isn't at a top tier level,
right?
Him getting drafted and playing with his dad, I don't want that negativity to come his way because he doesn't deserve it. He's not a top 10 pick. He's not a lottery pick. He's none of those things. I was all those things. And then still, when I went to go play for the Clippers, people were like, oh, you're only in the league because you're that. After me being the number one player in the United States 2 years prior.
Right.
This is a whole different situation. And at a different level, because, yeah, Doc's great. LeBron James is the most popular basketball player to ever play other than who? Maybe Michael Jordan?
Right.
It just would be a lot, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I hope for the kid that he's able to not only play in the NBA, but play somewhere where he can kind of niche out his own identity. His name's already Bronny. You know what I mean? Everything that we talk about with him, it always kind of folds back to his dad, rightfully so. He plays for USC, and his dad plays down the street for the Lakers. It's just an insane situation, and the way he's handled it, I'm a fan of Bronny. I really am, but I hope it goes somewhere else. I really do.
Yeah, man, I heard people just unmuting, just telling him to shut up. Steven Jackson calling him a bum. Yeah, your boy Stack 5.
I think we have already established that if there is a list of people who shouldn't be listened to, he is on it. Bro, he is one. Like, oh wow, I'm glad you said that because that helps me formulate how I feel about this.
Yeah, man. One thing
Steven
about
Jackson calls him a bum, then I definitely might defend him because I think that
no, listen. One thing about Stack, bro, he's got his pulse on the culture. And he's gonna call out all these phonies. And one thing about Austin Rivers, Like again, no, I'm just. I don't know why they. Well, I can figure out why they kind of hate him because it was kind of like some of the stuff he was saying in his thing. Were you the number one player in the country? Yeah, he was. But some people thought that was because he was Doc Rivers' son. Now we all saw that mixtape; it was crazy. But it was still a thing where it was like, but it's because it's Doc Rivers' son. At least me, I thought. He was like, oh yeah, he's not top 10, he's not lottery picking. I was all of those things. It's that stuff. I think because there's people out there that don't like Devin Booker either. And I think Devin Booker got a little bit of he got a little bit of the ego that people don't like. I think people think he's self-absorbed. So, hey, we're just saying. So I think
go ahead. Go ahead.
So I think with this situation here, I think people are just already. As soon as people say the name Austin Rivers, people are automatically ready to throw tomatoes. So for him to say what he was saying here, I feel as though I agree with his empathy with this. I think he really is trying to, for LeBron, Bronny's sake, for him not to go through what he went through, being Doc Rivers' son. And for him saying that, hey man, that's all true. That him and Michael Jordan are most popular people. You can ask a girl who don't know a lick of basketball; she know who LeBron James is. And so it's kind of hard to be your own man underneath that shadow in the league. But that's what comes with the territory. If he shouldn't have played basketball if this wasn't going to be a thing, but he's playing, the other son is playing, so they will forever be compared and all this other stuff. Fair or unfair, at least they can cry in Ferraris. So hopefully, this whole thing with Bronny, because it's out there. I've seen some of his highlights. I've seen what he's got going on. That's second round at best. What we're talking about right now, and I think it'd be really forced. So the only way I think Bronny could be his own man is if he doesn't jump to the league next year and he just plays college ball. If it took him 3 years, he did it. And he made a name for himself playing college ball and then got into the league. But right now, if he just gets streamlined into the league, just end up being on LeBron's team, I'm hearing a lot of rumors about the Knicks. So if it's one of those things where he's just on the end of the bench kind of thing, so he can be there, I think all of it sounds good. It's a good narrative. It's a good story. If I were LeBron James, it sounds like a good thing. But at this point, it's starting to come off a little, to me, a little selfish. And I don't know whose dream this is, LeBron's or Bronny's. And that's the part about this that rubs me the wrong way. So, but I'm wishing Bronny the best, man. But from what I see right now, he needs a lot of work to be NBA ready. He can be on an NBA team and play G League, but be a contributing factor on any kind of competitive team, he's a bit of a ways from that. So maybe 1 or 2 years more in the incubation chamber at USC will get it done, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. So yeah, I kind of agree with Austin, but the streets hate him. How about you, man? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with Austin Rivers here? Do you feel as though this is a little unfair for little Bronny? Or do you feel like he should just shut the hell up like everybody else is saying?
I don't understand the problem with Austin Rivers. Like, are people disagreeing with his comments because he's the one who said it, or because they actually think that they disagree with his actual comments?
I think they're just telling him. I think it's him. Only thing, it can be anything. Only thing he has to do is just say something, and then somebody in the back, like a character from The Simpsons or SpongeBob.
I think
shut up.
I think the Clippers thing messed him up. I think he was like neutral in terms of how he's perceived as a player until he went to play for the Clippers and he was playing for Doc. I think that messed him up. And like, I think I think he was a meaningful contributor on the team. I don't think that he was just on the team to claim a roster spot and collect contract money. I think he contributed, but his dad was the coach, and so it just excuse me, it just wasn't a good look, and I think that's what messed him up because I don't think he says bad things. Like when he talked about the eradication of the mid-level contract in the NBA, I was like, yeah, he's absolutely correct about that. He's 100% right. Like there is no mid-level player in the league anymore. You're either a max deal guy or you're a guy who signs a small 1 or 2 year deal worth 50 or 60, not 1 or 2 years. You're either an Austin Rivers. See, we're getting this thing. You're either an Austin Reeves. If you sign a deal with a team, you're either max deal superstar making 50, 60, 70 million dollars a year, or you're Austin Rivers. Oh my God, I did it again. Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves on the Lakers, where you sign an okay contract, but the 4th year is like an option and you can get traded and it's like a salary team friendly deal or something like that. And then there's like the low, then there's like almost league minimum, 2 years, $3 million or something crazy like that. There's no more Norman Powell. Norman Powell signed like a 5-year, $75 million contract. He's a mid-level role player. They ain't signing those no more. And I think it's because of the advent of the TV money and the superstars and the supermax that the league put in there from the last CBA. It's eradicated the middle class in the NBA. And Austin Rivers was like one of the only people in the media talking about that. So my point is, I'm going on an Austin Rivers tangent, but he doesn't, to me, say things that don't make sense. So I'm not getting the shade other than when he went to play for his dad on the Clippers, it did irreparable damage to his reputation. That's the only thing that I can think of as to why people have a problem whenever he opens his mouth. Because I also agree with him here, and I'm going to second what you said. If LeBron truly cares about the welfare of his kid, he will see that he is not ready for the league and let him stay in college for as long as he wants until he becomes more NBA ready. Money's not an option. He's like the 2nd or 3rd highest paid athlete via NIL money. There's only like 2 people making more money than him, and one of them is Caleb Williams. Like this kid is already generationally wealthy off of his NIL money, and all he did was play high school basketball and be LeBron James' son. So money's not an option. So what incentive is there to rush this thing other than to sort of be that first and maybe only time we'll ever see a father and son playing on the same team together?
Yep.
Which is a play by LeBron. Has to be. I'm like, who else cares as much about that than him? So to me, this is a LeBron thing. This ain't a Bronny thing. This is a LeBron thing. If LeBron wants to, use his child essentially as a prop to add one more notch on the belt of things that LeBron James accomplished in his career, then yeah, he'll get drafted. He won't be ready. He'll play on the same team as LeBron, and then perhaps into perpetuity, he might continue to get opportunities just because he was LeBron's son. And then he's going to be facing the same challenges that Austin Rivers did. Yeah. So I think Austin Rivers is right. I don't think Austin Rivers is wrong. And at least when Austin Rivers got drafted, he was more ready for the league than Bronny is. Austin Rivers was a lottery pick. He was the 10th pick in 2012. It sounds weird when he says it, but he was number one. He was the number 1 high school basketball player in the country at one point. He went to Duke. They made a deep. I don't know. Did they make a deep run? I forget how deep that the tournament run they ran was when he was at Duke. But he was more NBA ready than Bronny. Is my point.
Yeah.
And so the only thing that you can justify Bronny going to the league is the power of his dad. And so hell yeah, he's gonna have to deal with that nepotism label for as long as he's in the league, if that's the way it plays out. But if he continues to develop as a player, let's say he plays 3 years at USC, and in year 2 and 3, he's averaging between 15 and 20 a game, running the point, getting like 8 or 9 assists a game and dropping buckets. Even if they don't win, he's not going to have to deal with that as much coming into the league. then he
Right.
can be his own player. But if LeBron wants to do this father and son on the same team thing, nothing's going to be able to stop that. So this is being orchestrated, as is everything else, by LeBron.
Yeah, boy.
LeBron is the one who is pulling the puppet strings on all of this bullshit. This is a
Yeah.
LeBron move.
Yeah. And that's
LeBron
what,
is
yeah.
so LeBron is so egotistical. You don't think LeBron knows that his acolytes in the media will use him playing for 23 years and playing on the same team as his son as a piece of evidence for why he's the greatest player of all time? They'll do it. They will do that because they pull anything. The LeBron people in the media pull at anything to make this claim. LeBron knows this. He knows this. He knows that's one thing Jordan didn't do. That's one thing that one of these other players can't take away from me. That's one thing that these haters can't take away from me. Yeah. Oh, you don't think Shannon Sharp will bring that up? You don't think when Shannon Sharp's on
Oh,
First Take and they're having one
totally.
of their debates that
Totally.
Shannon Sharp isn't going to bring up the way he played for as long as he did and played on the same team of his son and use that as a piece of evidence to cite why he's the greatest of all time? Of course he will. LeBron knows this. As shallow and egotistical and narcissistic and passive aggressive as I feel LeBron is, he is nevertheless smart and perceptive. He knows that he can do certain things like this, and in the media over time, it will add to his greatest of all time cachet. So it's a bit gross that his son now becomes a pawn within that operation.
Right.
But be that as it may, that's what we're looking at. This is LeBron behind the curtain, commanding, everybody in the land of Oz to do what he wants, including his son, even if he's not ready for that stuff. But the shade at Austin Rivers for lamenting on this, I don't get that. To me, Austin Rivers ain't said nothing that's wrong here, this included. So I'm not getting that. But to me, this is a LeBron ploy all day, every day. This is a LeBron, more evidence for LeBron being the greatest ever stuff. It's a media thing. It's a media creation. It's all that kind of stuff. And this kid is a part of it, but he can cry in his Ferrari just like everybody else because the kid is already generationally wealthy. Money has nothing to do with this. I do not want to hear the argument that Bronny should go to the league as soon as possible so that he can cash in on as many NBA checks as he can. The kid is already $15-20 million in off of his NIL money. Money is not an issue for this guy. And he's the son of a billionaire. Money has nothing to do with this.
No.
I do not want to hear that weak ass justification. This is just about the symbolism that this will invoke, which will only benefit LeBron.
Yeah, and well said. And I'll just say this, man, I think, for the objective people with LeBron, I think we've got enough evidence. It just keeps compiling by the week, it seems. I mean, so much drama this man got going on every year. So, and you can just tack this onto the weird list of weird shit, man. I get it. I really do, bro. I totally get it. Like, I'm pretty sure he was probably like 2 years in the league, 3 years in the league. He was like, bro, if I pace this out right, I can play with bro. And that's great. That's a great vision and dream. Hell, I would, if I'm playing a video game, I would have loved to have done that, So I get where he's coming from. But at some point, you gotta see what you're doing to this young man, I would say, when it comes to, his well-being with this stuff. Because he just might end up being like Marcus Jordan.
Yep.
And being on some weird stuff later. It's like, damn, nigga, why you so weird? But look where your dad is, and look what all this public stuff you had going through. So hopefully he don't turn into being a weirdo. I think bro's a real hooper. I just think he needs to 3-4 years, man. And I would say at tops, man. I don't know what his ceiling is for the league, man, but just an effective role player. And then even then, man, I still feel like he'll catch hell. For not being a perennial all-star. So, best of luck to this guy. I don't know why the hate for Austin Rivers, but I laugh at it. So
Yeah.
I laughed when I saw. I don't know how true it was. 'Cause I think Cameron also told him to shut up. So I didn't see. I can't confirm that, but you know,
yeah.
yeah.
I think it's the Clippers Doc thing. I really don't, and I am not an Austin Rivers fan. I couldn't stand him when he played for the Magic. I couldn't stand him when he played for the Sixers. I mostly couldn't stand him for the majority of his career. Every team he played for, he was on teams that played against the team I wanted to win in the postseason. So I rooted against Austin Rivers pretty much for the majority of his career as a player. But come on, man, he's not saying anything wrong here. I don't get that. I think that he is the quintessential NBA Nepo baby. And I think that's how the world looks at him. And I think that does discredit his career to a degree because he had already staked a claim for himself as an individual player before he was on the Clippers.
Mhm.
So, I mean, people suggested that was Doc's way of trying to extend his career as a player. And that's fine, but it's not like he wasn't a viable player before that. That's the part that I don't get the Austin Rivers shade, man, but whatever. It is what it is. I think he made a great point here, and I think that this is Puppet Master LeBron pulling all of these strings. And why not? Because at the end of the day, whatever does not go bad will not be blamed. He won't get the blame for it anyway, so why the hell not?
Yeah, facts, bro.
Yeah.
Facts.
Shouts out to Austin Rivers, man.
For sure, for
I guess
sure.
keep doing your thing over there on ESPN.
Yeah, hey, go Heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So another friend of the channel, Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Reese, what was the name of this award now? He received what was this thing called? He received the Dr. Dre Global Impact Award. I think that's what it's called.
Oh,
And
wow.
his speech upon receiving this award is making headway because he was citing how Beyonce has not won a Grammy for Album of the Year, despite her esteemed, accomplished career and all of the other various accolades that she's received. So, Jay-Z is being talked about because of his acceptance speech upon receiving this award. So this says Jay-Z calls out the Recording Academy and Grammy speech. Jay-Z used his speech at the Grammy Awards to get some things off his chest while accepting the Dr. Dre Global Impact Award. So that's what it's called. With his 12-year-old daughter, Blue Ivy, by his side, Jay-Z noted that the industry had come a long way since Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff boycotted the Grammys in 1989 over the Rap Awards not being televised. And then they went to a hotel and watched the Grammys, Jay-Z said. I ain't even understand. It wasn't a great boycott. The rapper and entrepreneur said that he too boycotted attending the Grammys in 1998 after DMX not being nominated despite having 2 successful albums that year. I'm just saying we love y'all, we love y'all, we love y'all, and we want y'all to get it right, Jay-Z said. At least get it close to right. Noting that the voting is subjective, he then brought his wife Beyonce into the conversation. I don't want to embarrass this young lady, but she has more Grammys than anyone and never won Album of the Year, he said of Beyonce. Even by your own metric, that does not work. Think about that. Most Grammys never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work. B became the most awarded artist in Grammys history in 2023 when she earned her Grammy Award for Best Dance Electronic Album, which she won for her celebrated record Renaissance. Beyonce's supporters have long complained she has consistently been shut out of winning the prestigious Album of the Year Grammy. The Recording Academy, the group behind the Grammys, has also long faced criticism for failing to equally recognize women and artists of color, along with alienating rap and hip-hop performers in key categories over the years. The group has been working to implement changes to address that since 2020. During his speech Sunday night, Jay-Z quipped, "Some of you are going to go home tonight, and I feel like you've been robbed." Some of you may get robbed, he says. Some of you don't belong in the category. As the audience tittered at that shade, Jay-Z said, "When I get nervous, I tell the truth." Outside of that, we got to keep showing up, he said, and forget the Grammys for a second, just in life. Just keep showing up, he added. You got to keep showing up until they give you all those accolades you feel you deserve. Until they call you chairman, until they call you a genius, until they call you the greatest of all time. You feel me? And, full disclosure, I didn't watch this. I don't watch the Grammys. I don't watch award shows. Didn't know he was getting this award. Didn't see the speech. Don't care. But yeah, there you have it. So this is being talked about a lot because of those comments that he made about Beyonce, and then about just keep plugging away until they recognize you. So did you peel anything away from that acceptance speech?
Yeah, I mean, I like the whole part where of him basically saying just keep chopping away, and whatever, whatever you're chopping away at, so long as you just stay down and respect the game, you should get a reward at the back end. So that's pretty live. I like that. But my thing is, and I applaud him because this is his world. So music, Grammys, this is him and his wife's world. So this is what they care about. And most people who've ever accepted an award from the Grammys, as far as I'm concerned, never really critiqued them at their own ceremony while receiving a Grammy. So I think it was pretty gutsy on his behalf to speak his mind. But this is eerily reminiscent of the 50 situation, where it's like, but look at all these other trophies. You missing that one? But they're in that world, so that trophy might mean something to them. So I can see why they would feel like they're being marginalized. But here's my thing, man. When we're dealing with these award ceremonies and all this other stuff, as they said, it is subjective. I don't know who's voting. I don't ever know who's voting for these things. But it took me, early, 90s, man. After watching some of these award shows, because whatever, there's nothing else on TV, and me looking at this stuff, I'm like, hey, man, where's Missy Elliott? That thing go hard. I can't stand the rain go hard. And it's like, they're not gonna have Missy up here. That time they had 3-6 Mafia up there, people brains almost exploded.
Yeah, but I think, I also think that the world looked at that as a joke.
It was so minstrel.
I think that the world, yeah,
it was so minstrel.
I think, yeah, it was that was embarrassing to me. Not, I think that the way that they put the way that they showcased them, I think that was intentional.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. So you guys to see what academy we're dealing with is my point. And it shouldn't be, if you can clearly tell you're not being valued, then you shouldn't value their awards, is my point. So I understand that I understand that this is their world and that they care about this, but I don't think they should care about this because of the perceived marginalization that they feel. And I think it's pretty obvious. And as the article stated, that there's a floating around thing going on with, Black people and their music, and it not receiving the recognition that they believe that it deserves. And Beyonce is no different. Honestly, the Grammys to me is just a commercial award. Who's the most commercial? Who's doing this? And you don't get no more commercial than Beyonce. So honestly, it should be back-to-back years between her and Taylor Swift just sweeping the Grammys. And she swept so many, she has the most trophies, but one. So it does seem a little odd if I was in that household, and he felt compelled enough to say something. But to me, I feel as though they shouldn't even care. Award shows, like you mentioned, you don't watch them, you don't care for them. I stopped watching and I stopped caring for them because of the subjective voting.
Right.
So to me, I'm glad that he said something. At least maybe this will maybe this may change some things in the committee's minds in the future. But again, if you're in a situation where every time you're standing at the door, waiting for your table, and there's new people who walk through the door and they sit down before you, how often are you going to keep going to that restaurant And will you and you stand there in front of everybody and say, "Where's my seat? Everybody else got theirs." So I would just, like he said, boycott it. So what are your thoughts on Jay-Z's speech, acceptance speech? Dr. Dre global impact. What the hell is that? How do you feel about his speech there?
So not too many people know this, but you know this. Way back in 2015, I started a little website called consciousapproach.com.
That's right.
Long before Conscious Approach was this YouTube channel, it was a blog that no one visited and that no one paid attention to, but it was a passion of mine. And I worked and invested in and spent money on this website, and literally it would just be the place that I went to kind of put my stuff down somewhere where maybe somehow, some way, maybe a few people might read it from time to time. I try to promote my posts like on Twitter and on social media. Nobody ever looked at it, but this channel started as a blog site. And one of the first things that I wrote and published to that website was an article called "Why Hip Hop Struggles for Mainstream Success." And it came out of the wake of certain artists complaining about the Grammys. This was all the way back in 2015. Kanye was complaining about the Grammys. You had all of these people complaining about the Grammys because they felt like the genre wasn't getting the respect that they deserve. And back then, I said to myself, well, I feel like the genre doesn't get the respect that it deserves because historically, the Grammys looks at music a particular kind of way, and that particular kind of way is like not what this culture is. So, the Grammys values things like instrumentation and, actual vocals, actual people who can sing. They don't need the assistance of technology to sing, and they don't need synthesizers, and they actually value like bands and people who can actually play the instruments. They can do the bass and the drums and the guitar. Historically, I'm not saying that music is only exclusively that. I'm just saying that the primary tenets upon which the Grammys was founded was based upon this idea that that's what music is. Rock and roll, jazz, and all of that kind of stuff. Hip hop came along in the 80s for the most part. It's how it rose to prominence. It was around in the late 70s, but it rose to prominence in the 80s well after these various tenets were established. So my thing was to complain about the Grammys is to not understand this. So if you want to be respected more in terms of the Grammys, you're either going to have to conform to what the Grammys has always perceived to be true music, which is incorporating more orchestrated music into your stuff, more instrumentation, more actual vocals, and all of that kind of stuff. Or you can understand that this is what the Grammys is and just go and create your own award shows and celebrate your art in your own award shows. Now, I largely stand by that opinion, to be honest, but I think nowadays they've made it easier to snub these people, because this was back in 2015 when I felt that there was more of an artistic element to hip hop and rap and even R&B. Now I feel personally, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but I feel like the genre has jumped the shark more in terms of not caring about certain things like instrumentation and lyrics and principles and actual messages and substances. So it was easier for me to defend it in 2015 than it is for me to defend it now. If I try to defend it now, I can't find myself fixing my face to say Lil Baby deserves a Grammy. now, I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of people. Hater. Now, I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people in the community who say that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about and I need to shut my mouth. That the Baby deserves Grammys and Lil Baby deserves Grammys and Cardi B deserves Grammys. Megan Thee Stallion deserves Grammys and all of these people deserve Grammys. Personally, I don't see it. I don't see it, but that's just my opinion. But Beyonce to me is different than that. I think she does have a leg to stand on, but this isn't something that's unprecedented. Like I was looking this up. And one of the big things with the Academy Awards, because I feel like people complain about the Oscars and the Grammys. I feel like the Grammys are kind of looked at along the same way. Like it's the same wavelength. They complain about the Oscars and they complain about the Grammys, right? And I feel like this was going on in the Grammys too. Not in the Grammys. I feel like this was going on in the Oscars with Leonardo DiCaprio. Because I went and I looked this up, and it's like every time this guy was nominated for Best Oscar, he would lose. And it was like, why does this guy keep losing when he has all of these nominations? He's in all of these gangsta ass movies. He's like a top-notch actor, yet he keeps losing. What the hell is the deal? Sometimes the shit just happens like that. And like, apparently, so I had to go back and kind of look to make sure that I was fact checking myself correctly. But it's DiCaprio was nominated for an Oscar 5 times before he finally won one. This is a dude who was in Oscar nominated performances for years and years. He didn't win until 2016 for The Revenant. But leading up to that, he had lost after being nominated for What's Eating Gilbert Grape, The Aviator, Blood Diamond, and The Wolf of Wall Street. Wolf of Wall Street was a gangsta ass movie.
She was fired.
So these kinds of things happen. I'm not trying to say that Jay-Z's wrong. He should defend Beyonce. She has her legions of zombie fans. Go for it. She has a storied career. She's done a lot. She's accomplished a lot. I got no shade to throw at Beyonce's way, but these things just tend to happen sometimes. These institutions are subjective. They are not objective, and they just tend to operate this way. I think we might be looking at a situation where Beyonce, by hook or by crook, is the Grammys equivalent of Leonardo DiCaprio before he finally won one. And, if it makes Beyonce or Jay-Z feel any better, I don't think Beyonce winning a Grammy or lack thereof is an indication of how celebrated or respected she is. So at the end of the day, that's just one little thing that maybe she's going to have to miss out on because of the weird subjectiveness of these goofy ass institutions and how they tend to operate. But this isn't unprecedented. I've seen it happen before. It'll happen again. Beyonce may be the last, artist that makes R&B or any kind of authentically black form of music that this happens to, because I see the Grammys reverting back to the way it used to be out of convenience, because I really don't think that these genres make the kind of quality music, in my opinion, that should get recognized by the Grammys. That's just how I see it. I'm sure a lot of other people disagree, but I think that the substance of the music has deteriorated over the past generation or two. Beyonce notwithstanding, because I don't think Beyonce is included in said deterioration, but I think that her contemporaries and the generations after her have contributed to that deterioration. And I think that deterioration might ultimately be what ends up keeping her shut out.
Yeah. And last thing I'll say is, I agree with all that, by the way. And the last thing I'll say is that, now it's going to be a little weird when she does win.
Yeah.
And so that's probably, I'm pretty sure Beyonce didn't care for him saying that for real. But,
yeah.
They'll give her award, down the line on some
Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah, on some, on some Gladys Knight, on some Aretha Franklin type vibe, and they're just
Bell. Yeah,
just honoring her like that, and she'll get her, whatever type of thing. But yeah, man, teach their own. I mean, honestly, even if I was an artist, I wouldn't give a shit about the Grammys, bro.
I think most of them don't. I think most of them don't care. I really do think most of them don't care.
But I've heard people, man, and I've never even been nominated for a Grammy. It's like, bro, you making all this garbage ass booty rap. Did WAP win a Grammy?
It may have. They give this stuff out like cotton candy at the youth fair nowadays. That's what I'm saying. So
if WAP won a Grammy, then Beyonce should win album of the year. So, hey man,
yeah.
So who cares about that goofy thing anyway? But yeah, that's just me.
That's a great question.
Look that up, man, because I feel like they won something for that.
Maybe. So what year did that song come out?
I don't know.
So yeah, she's won best rap album, rap performance, twice.
Ooh,
Again,
Cardi?
album. Yeah. She won
Twice?
best rap album. Yeah. Well, no. She won best rap album in 2019, so not twice. But
Bodak.
yeah. She may have. I don't got time to go down the rabbit hole on that. But
Yeah.
that is the kind of song that the Grammys would give an award to. So yeah, to your point, I just look at it and I say this is all a joke. Like, they award the garbage. They keep making the garbage, and so what do you expect? You all of a sudden Beyonce is this esteemed person. I hear where Jay-Z's coming from. I just say, hey man, the Grammys, it has its own set of problems, but how about you police your own industry and just tell them to stop making trash music? I kind of feel that way.
Yeah. Hey man, he made.
So I got some intel. It said, yeah, rap wasn't submitted for Grammy consideration. She was afraid. That's from my boy. That's from my boy Marcus Dudley, man. That's the dude I was talking about earlier today before we went on stage. Same dude.
What up, big dog?
Yeah.
Man. Hey, I think that girl from the Waka Flocka segment had a WAP, right? Didn't she have a?
Well, I mean, she had a baby by Waka. So. Yeah. And shouts out to Dudley. He also left a comment on the chat. He said Adele criticized the Grammys when she won Album of the Year, and Beyonce Lemonade was snubbed. She said something along the lines of, "What does she have to do to win?" or something like that. So Adele spoke out on her behalf too. I just think that this stuff is goofy, honestly. That's why I stopped watching, because I was like, look at these people who are clamoring for these awards. Like, I don't know. I just don't see it. But that's me, man. We'll go ahead and move on.
Word.
We'll go ahead and move. Good luck to Beyonce. Shouts out to Beyonce. Shouts out to Jay-Z. Hopefully you get that best album Grammy at some point in short order before you ride off into the sunset.
Speaking of Grammys.
Okay, so another person who had a big night at the Grammys was Killer Mike. But he made even more headlines because of the fact that he was arrested.
Sure.
Yeah, so Killer Mike was arrested after winning his Grammys. So let's check this out.
I can just hear Uncle Ruckus right now. Just said, and that's why we don't let y'all into our ceremonies. What's going on? What Killer Mike did, man?
So this article says Killer Mike handcuffed for alleged misdemeanor immediately after winning 3 Grammys. Killer Mike was seen handcuffed inside Crypto.com arena after winning 3 Grammys, including one for Best Rap Album. The incident occurred on Sunday night while the awards were going on inside the Los Angeles arena. Video footage has circulated online showing the rapper in handcuffs and being escorted by several police officers. Journalist Chris Gardner tweeted that an official believed Mike could be released at some point on Sunday. According to Gardner, the cuffing is over a misdemeanor that had nothing to do with the Grammys. According to his source, it's a big nothing. There are videos of Killer Mike being taken away on handcuffs. This is just a bunch of Twitter posts, X, whatever you want to call it. Later in the night, reporter Thomas Meyer tweeted that Killer Mike was detained following a physical altercation and later questioned. An investigation is ongoing, per Meyer. Killer Mike won the awards for Best Rap Song and Best Rap Performance for Scientists and Engineers and Best Rap Album for Michael. His Best Rap Performance win is shared with featured artist Andre 3000, Future, and Aaron Allen Kane. He also shares Best Rap Song with co-writer Andre 3000, Paul Beauregard, James Blake, Tim Moore, and Dion Wilson. In his acceptance speech for one of the awards, Mike stated, you can't tell me that you're getting too old. You can't tell me it's too late. You can't tell me dreams don't come true. It is a sweep. It is a sweep. It is a sweep. Sometime after his arrest, Mike also tweeted, "Thank God." So I think that this kind of sullied somewhat his big night. For the purposes of full disclosure or information, there was an update on this story which clarified why he was arrested, and it claims that he was arrested. It says TMZ reports that Mike knocked down a security officer who wouldn't get out of his way. So that is what is being reported as the reason as to why he was arrested. So big night for him, won a bunch of Grammys, but he was arrested for, strong arming a security guard who wouldn't get out of his way. I haven't found any other information on that outside of that being the official story, but that is where we leave it. So Killer Mike arrested. Is there anything to peel from that?
Outside of the Uncle Ruckus type of stuff. Now, we just covered the Grammys in the last topic, and the marginalization of African American artists. So and honestly, bro, the Uncle Ruckus joke is honestly my commentary to this, in the sense of, see, that's why they don't like you people that the damn thing in the first place. And y'all gonna come here and just turn this into the Source Awards. This is a prestigious bow tie only event, and you guys are sitting around here bringing your malt liquors, and shooting dice with your Popeye sandwiches. No, hey, that's what it seems like to me. And so Killer Mike, unfortunately, bro, played right into the hands of the Academy. Now, what went on? I guess shoving a security guard. I mean, you can't go. I'm sorry, bro. You just can't go places doing that. Now, if you did that at a strip club, that's one thing. You did that at the Source Awards, that's another. But you can't do that at the Grammy. Something told me he was doing too much. And it's just one of those things, man. Living while black. You fair or not, you to me personally, you just have to acknowledge your surroundings and what's going on. And sometimes doing too much in certain places will get you in trouble. And previous engagements, that I worked on, being a trainer, I would train people on, what to do, what not to do. And if there were black people in my class, I would also train them, especially on behavior and etiquette. I had to, sorry. And my thing was how to behave in this office. And no, you see her over there? She doing that. You can't. Why? And it's like, look, they can do that and get away with it. You can do them, probably get away with it, but you might not. And if you go around doing that, they're going to turn around and ask you for your badge. And then you're going to turn around and go, well, they're over there doing it. No, I saw you. So I would train people on etiquette, how to behave. The reason why I did that was I worked at this particular job. I worked with other people, black people, all kinds of people. But there were people getting fired for behavioral issues, sometimes perceivable. Me too. Like they were trying to rope me in and write me up on stuff that I wasn't even doing, but it looked like I do it. So, that kind of stuff. So I made through a lot of cuts of people getting fired. And the way that I made it was keeping my head down. And like Jay-Z said, just working and just doing my thing, getting in, getting out of the way. To me, it's the same type of situation, a corporate setting, when you're dealing with the Grammys or anything, the equivalent of it. And when you're going to these places, bow tie only, black tie, all this other good stuff. And when you're going around these places with these people and, they're running their thing, they're going to want you to behave as a certain kind of way. And if you go up in there acting like, you familiar with the settings, the surroundings and whatever, and you're just too comfortable, that can sound some alarms. So I think Killer Mike, I personally don't think he's the first person to have an altercation backstage at the Grammys. I don't think he's the first person to have an altercation with a security guard who was in the way. I just think that he was probably doing too much. And so and he was at the wrong place doing too much. So I think this is kind of all of that stuff. You know, I even maybe there is footage out there of him getting into the altercation with the security guard, but is it worth a misdemeanor? I mean, who knows? I guess technically it is, but I just feel like yeah, man, he had a good night, and that kind of put a little damper on his evening. But I'm a big Killer Mike fan. I think dude's super cool. I think he's kind of chill. Smart dude, knows his stuff. He can rap his ass off. So he seemed to be very happy about the occasion. So I'm glad he won his little Grammys. But yeah, man, you just have to be careful when you're in certain settings. And I think he just got a little bit too aggressive with life and enjoyed himself too much. Got a little too turned at the wrong venue. Hence handcuffs, because I don't even think it required handcuffs. But what are your thoughts, sir, on Killer Mike winning 3 Grammys, then getting arrested not too long after?
Yeah, I think that the arrest part was probably just protocol. I don't really think it was that big of a deal based upon the stipulations and everything that I've read. But I think that this is something that can actually benefit him. Now, I listened to his. Okay, so first of all, Killer Mike's style of music is borderline militant, aggressive anti-establishmentarianism type stuff. That's kind of his style. And if there's one thing that an anti-disestablishmentarianism isn't afraid of,
It's good for his brand.
it's fisticuffs. Yeah. even when you even in a suit, anti-disestablishmentarianism warrants a fight every now and again. And you know, that's his style. It's his style of music, and it's his style on this most recent album that he won those awards for. So I think that at the very end of the day, he's going to be able to effectively parlay this into one of his missions and galvanize people behind his efforts, and maybe get even more people to stream his album because he was arrested after winning, and given his style, he's going to be able to use that as sort of a latchkey to get people paying attention to his music. So in this weird world where even an arrest can be a positive for certain people based upon the circumstances, I feel like this is something that's only going to help him. Now, if it was one of these emo rappers getting arrested for throwing down a security guard, it might be a bit different. But you got Killer Mike, a guy who's highly political, highly socially aware. He's on the front lines. He pickets. He's an alderman in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? He's doing all of these different things, trying to actually do stuff on the ground level on the streets, even though not enough of us pay attention to him. But he's doing this stuff. And sometimes people who do this stuff get arrested. So I'm not saying that he was trying to intentionally get arrested or that he was doing right by himself to get arrested. But I am saying that it is consistent with his career arc. And so because it is consistent with his career arc, it might benefit him at the end of the day. Now, I hear everything that you're saying, though. I hear all of that. And I've worked in buttoned up professional settings pretty much my whole life. So I get that line that you have to toe in terms of behavior. And I know all too well how companies can wield values and corporate structure as a weapon to justify why they can get rid of certain people. So I am all too aware of that practice. Trust me. I understand it all too well. But, you know, with him and just the moniker that he's established for himself, this to me was kind of consistent. So yeah, it wasn't something that he was trying to do, I don't think, but I just feel like it's something that nevertheless can work for him. Because I listened to that Michael album. Now, I like aggressive fight the power music just as much as the next guy, but I also like it with, a good beat or two. So, I tried listening to the Michael album, and I couldn't really listen to it. Lyrically, it was, Killer Mike, as you said, he's a great rapper, but sonically, I didn't really like it. So, I listened to it once out of respect for him. But, what I was able to listen to, that one or two playthroughs that I listened to it, very much on that aggressive, fight the power, know yourself, your history kind of stuff, and don't take no shit. And so, yeah, that's his moniker. It's in his music. And it does not strike me as odd that he would strong arm a security guard who wouldn't get out of his way. What was the move that used to be in Madden? The hit stick. He'll hit stick you. He probably hit stick. He probably hit stick this dude. You know what I'm saying? Killer Mike's a big guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hear what you're saying though. I think all points of view in this particular situation is nothing's wrong here. But I think in the grand scheme of things, he'll just dust this off and he'll go take his 3 Grammys home and be able to look at them with glee and move on to the next mission.
Yeah, this is definitely on the next project.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely I'm up in the, and they want to arrest me. It's like, okay, I got it. All right, that was tough. 2 songs later, and they wanted to arrest me, and they tried to. I was like, all right, I heard that a couple songs ago, But then I got their Grammy, I took their awards, and they want. Oh, come on, man. So I hope it's not all over the next album, but I know for sure he's gonna bring this up, drop a bar or 2 in there, to make us all chew on. So yeah, man, shout out to Killer Mike, man. Hey, you're right, man. If this is on brand for him, as you mentioned, because it is on brand. So if this actually works for him, hey, kudos to you, brother. But I was more or less looking at it from, just the initial angle of this is why though. All that stuff, Beyonce and all this other stuff. This is why.
Right.
This is what they think of y'all.
Yeah.
And so for him to play into that to a degree was like, Killer Mike, out of all people, front lines, man, blah, blah, but you twisted, but you spinning the angle of but no, this is in line with a revolutionary. Airing up the Grammy. So shout out to Killer Mike, man. Cool, dude, man. Boy, man.
I like Killer Mike, man. I'm a fan of Killer Mike because Killer Mike is one of those people. He's not one of these gas bagging rappers who will make a couple songs or make a bunch of albums talking about racism and blah blah blah. Like Killer Mike's doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? Killer Mike is in his city. He's sitting in these meetings. You know what I'm saying? He's meeting with council members. He knows these laws. He know. You know what I'm saying? The rest of these rappers I just ignore because they full of shit. But he's somebody who's like actually knows this stuff. Yeah. So I got a lot of respect for him. He's not the only one, but he's one of the ones who know. Like, to me, he's very knowledgeable. Very knowledgeable. So I got a ton of respect for him. And musically he's cool too, but that last album was just a little too dead press for me. It was a little too dead press for me. But shouts out to Killer Mike, man. I respect him, man. I am a fan of him. Just in terms of his overall persona, everything he has going on. So shouts out to him. Appreciate the content.
Agreed.
All right, y'all. We gonna go ahead and close this stream out. Good stuff. Conscious Approach episode blank in the books. I'm gonna go back and see how many streams we've done. Keep a running tally, man. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, man. Hit that like button. Let us know what you think about the commentary in this or any other video. We certainly appreciate you as we continue to kick around this logical content. Conscious Approaches on Instagram at ConApproach, ConApproach. Look out for the RSS feed coming soon so that we can try and get ourselves on these podcast platforms. Check me out on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. If you happen to be watching this video on the Facebook page, go ahead and follow the page too. Like the page, however Facebook works these days. Share the video wherever you see it. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Until next time, I am signing off. We are signing off. I am JVWins, and we'll catch you on flip side.
Yeah. And the name is Dogon SS. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS and on YouTube at Dogon_SS. Also on TikTok. Now, I don't post no videos, at least not yet. But my comments, they be going hammer. Go follow me over there, Dogon_SS. And on DraftKings. Super Bowl coming up. Send me an ad, bruh. I'm taking your guap.
You see, you ain't watching the game though. You said you ain't watching the game. You boycott the game.
On it, though. I'm still betting on it. Hey yo, and as I say on every podcast, all right, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it player, and don't let anybody get you off your pivot. So until next time, guys, we'll catch y'all on the flip. Skrr, skrr, skrr.
Yes, sir. Shouts out to the Heat. Beat the Magic tonight. Good job, because y'all been looking like trash the last couple months. I ain't been liking what I'm seeing. So we gotta win, get off this schneid. Shouts out to the Dolphins next year. Shouts out to the 49ers at the Super Bowl this week. I'll be rooting for y'all, boys.
Please beat them. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm about to lose my shit.
Yeah, we're gonna have to sprinkle some good juju for them 49ers, man. But yeah, go Heat, go Dolphins. We will catch y'all on the next video. We certainly appreciate your support. Until next time, we are signing off. We will see you later. Peace.
Peace. Skrr, skrr. Go Canes. Go Rattlers.